sich in der Streit meinem Kind oder durch, so will ich sein, unheimlich im Wald, dass ich die Vogel bin und über alles hin in die Kräfte wie kann man nur denken, dass man ewig und ewig lebt? Da sie doch immer die Schönsten, die allerschönsten sein wird. Lacht nicht aus, glaubt das verliebt, glaubt nicht auslachen, wenn will, von ihm, dass ich alles gewürde, dir steht, ein Enoch, ein junger Kavalier von Leben, heute, also gefallen hat, wie
mai kau mapuna hoe e hoe.
My name is Dr. Hokulani Holt. Here at UH Maui College, I am the director of Kūikawā, which is a scholarship program for Native Hawaiian students interested in STEM, Hawaiian studies, and Hawaiian language. How I met them was Kuakane is a friend of my daughter, Kani'au, and so that relationship started happening as her friend. And then she was the one that said, "Oh, Mom, they have a singing group." And then they began to play a little bit on campus and at the early years. And then as I talked to Kuakane, he said that they were practicing underneath the stairwell over at Pilina. And I said, "Well, you want to come over here and practice?" And that's how I got to know their music more and more, because I began to hear it. They were already a trio when I got to know them. It was obvious to me that they had a wonderful sound, that their music was very inspiring, and that they were serious, because they would practice all of these times just here, plus the other times that they would practice together. So I began to know not only did they do beautiful and wonderful music, but they were serious about their music. They, of course, are wonderful young men. They are kind, they are helpful, they're very community minded, and all of those attributes that I saw in them, I felt was going to be helpful for them as they move forward in their music career. So I contributed to their CD pictures and marketing were done down at the land that we have in Waihe'e and Pailoko. So they were able to come down there and develop the visuals that they wanted to do for their marketing and for their CD itself. I wanted to help them. I wanted them to be successful. What I hear is that they enjoy traditional music. They also write their own music, but they also enjoy traditional music. And I think that should always be in their repertoire because they do it well. I believe that if they put on their CDs those kinds of songs that can be danced to in hula, that the kumuhula will support that, because they will have music that they can have their students purchase, because they're going to choreograph a hula to that music. So it depends what their goal is.
My name is Keola Donaghy. I am the faculty coordinator of the Institute of Hawaiian Music and also of music studies overall on campus. Joshua had been a student in IHM for about a year, did well in his studies and his performance, and the following year, both Koa and Lukela joined the program. The three of them hit it off really well immediately, both on a personal level as well as musically. They were very quickly able to come up together with some very nice arrangements of Hawaiian standards. I had hoped that they would develop into something that would last beyond their time in IHM, and they actually began to do some performances outside of the program, even during the time that they were students. So it seemed like they had great chemistry, again, both personally and musically. And I had hoped that they would be able to maintain that and continue it. It was interesting to watch them develop. You know, in his first year in the program, Josh was dedicated with his studies, but you could tell that he was really still trying to figure out what he was going to accomplish with music. And I wasn't even sure that it was going to be Hawaiian music for him. And it really didn't become clear until the three of them got together that things started to go in that direction. With Lukela, he came in with a pretty strong performance background already, playing the upright bass, as well as his vocal harmonies. He had a real aptitude for finding the harmony parts. Koa, he really didn't have a very polished or developed falsetto voice at that point, but I could hear the potential in it, and it really just took some time and dedication for him to develop it to the point that he is now. So really, it's, the raw potential and ability that I saw in them really is, come to fruition very nicely. There were a lot of great memories of teaching them. I think the highlight was really after they had graduated, seeing that they were moving forward with music as a career and continuing to try to help and support them as best I could during that time. But the highlight really would have been probably their CD release party at Bailey House Museum. That was really their coming out party. I had referred them to Dave Toucheron, who's a Grammy Award-winning engineer, knowing that he could take them to the next plateau beyond where I had been able to help them get to. And that was really the first time that I had seen them live, where they had brought together everything that they had learned in our program, everything that they had learned working with Dave. And that was really, the high point at that point. I'm still waiting for the next high point. I'm hoping that it comes soon with their next recording, and to see what happens, beyond the pandemic and when they are able to start getting out and playing live again. My advice to them would be to, keep their feet on the ground and keep planted, and don't let any success that they may have go to their heads. It's, the Hawaii music industry is relatively small compared to the national industry, and also the fact that it's changing so dramatically. There's very few major record labels now, and fewer that, are working with Hawaiian musicians. So they really need to take a lot of initiative and master as many of the skills, the industry skills that they need. So we have taught them a lot of that while they were in the program. But the music industry is changing rapidly every year. There's new innovations. So, for them and for any other artists, they really need to keep up with what's current in the industry, in addition to continuing to refine their songwriting, their performing, their singing, their arranging, their technical skills, things like that.
Hello, I'm Evan Sparkman, and today we have the band Kūikawā. We'll be getting a little bit of information from them about what they do. To start us off, how did you guys come up with the band name Kūikawā?
That one was actually with Josh and Keola Donaghy, the program director of the Institute of Hawaiian Music here at Maui. Because our style is very reminiscent of Makaha Sons, they tossed around the idea of, why don't we, take maybe one of their album names? And Kūikawā was one of their album names that Makaha Sons had released. And diving into it more, it was a perfect fit.
Would you say that kind of music is what inspired you to create this band in the first place?
I think that's actually, yeah, exactly. The beautiful thing about like the Makaha Sons, for example, is that you can't reproduce that kind of music by yourself. You need a group of people because it's the harmonies that are a large part of the magic of their music.
You can't do it solo. Like you can't do it justice
Yeah.
to say. But yeah, so working together for like the past 5 years has been that joy of putting out that kind of music and that feel.
How did you guys first meet up?
Our anniversary, we call it, falls on October 15th, which